Oh, we are live. I'm actually early for once. Can you believe it? If you can hear me, let me know in the comments because I've been having problems with the microphone recently. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it sounds a bit Chippendale. So just let us know. Let us know. Oh, so quiet. Uh, Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you? Yeah. Cool. The gorilla. The gorilla is in the house. My main man. How you doing, gorilla? Word up, double D. I like it. Double D. I like that. Evening, Richard. How you doing? What's the subject tonight? No subject really. No subject such. Just usual jibber jabber. Should really do something, really, shouldn't I? I have ideas and then like put them on the back burner. Just leave it another week. Let me sit on it for another week. then it comes up. I do the stream, on the day that I don't actually have anything because I'm still pondering it, still thinking of, things. Should get my arse into gear, really. I haven't got the excuse of being at work because I've had the week off. So, um, I need regular weeks off really to really give it my all into YouTube. You know, 4 kids as well doesn't make it easy. Takes a while for the house to sort of settle down and become quiet. Can't just sort of like start streaming any time of the day. I'd like to, but no, no, not interested, Richard. Are you watching it? Don't get me wrong, I hope Scotland win, but I can't see it coming to anything, can it? God, in England. I think we're getting worse over the years, actually. You might go back and forward. It's probably more entertaining than this stream, let's admit it. Let's be honest. I better start the camera. Get the link out there, I guess. Where's my sidekick? He'll be here shortly. Don't really have a sidekick as such. I'm more of a lone wolf. I suppose Ian's probably regarded as psychic. I'm just pleased that my microphone actually works for once, without me having to tinker around with it. You missing the football? I mean, the Premier League, because the Euros and stuff doesn't really do it for me. You hope Ian is grumpy tonight. He might be a little bit grumpy. I think he's all right though. I think he puts it on a bit, when they do like a certain theme. I think he puts it on a little bit, for sort of shits and giggles. And I'm not even drinking beer tonight. I'm having this bloody lemon iced tea. Look at me, look. How good am I? We should admire him because of the grumpiness. It's too real. Bloody fleas buzzing around here. He's passionate. He's passionate about his music. He likes what he likes, and he'll tell you bluntly if he doesn't like something. And that's what I'm guessing the 90s onward. You know, he's good up to the 90s, and then it gets a bit hit and miss. That's not to say he doesn't like the 90s, I don't think. I think he does. It just, I think I think for him, for Ian, I can't really speak for him because he's not here, but I think the 90s is a bit of I don't know, a bit of a downhill, I suppose. Looking at those 90s number ones, I mean, I can't justify it otherwise. We should do our own, what we think is number ones, I think, as a stream. Like revisit the 90s theme, number ones, so to speak, and come up with our own, what we think should be number one, of the 90s. And I'd imagine, I'll be presenting Blur and Oasis and, some stuff like that. Last good year of music, 1982 to 83. I don't know about that. I mean, you can't argue with that because that's it's your opinion. If you obviously think that, and you obviously have your reasons. But I'll say it a bit later. I'll say the 90s was probably the last decent decade. But then some stuff in the 2000s, particularly the first half of the 2000s, I think was better than 90s music. It was sort of a bit more, might have seen. 90s was a bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it? I suppose they all are really, but we had a lot of bands emerging in sort of the late 90s and 2000s, and up to about half of the 2000s, it was pretty darn good, I thought. But I don't think the decade, the noughties decade on the whole, was too great. I think that's where it goes belly up on the 2000s. It was good first half, but after then it just went to pieces. But the 90s was pretty solid, from the start to the end, in my personal opinion. Of course, that's sort of the time I was getting into music. I was a kid growing up in the 90s, so the very early 90s I liked as a child. So the dead years, 83 to 94. Why do you think that? Why are those dead? I mean, early 80s music was great, was particularly better, I think, than the rest of the 80s. But to call 83 to 94 the dead years, that's quite a bold statement. Oh gosh, old men lamenting on so-called good old days. You were sick by all music. You were sick of all new music by 95. I like 95. 95, 96. I think the start of the 90s, like the very early start, 1990, was a bit meh. Because like 89, I don't think was a particularly good 80s year, was it? Music kind of tailed off. And 90s was sort of okay. 91, okay, getting better. 92, getting better. 93, sort of 92, 93, there's a lot of this kind of European trance coming in, and Two Unlimited, Culture, was it Culture Beat, and stuff like that. Anyway, then 94 you had Oasis and Blur, and it sort of it got better as the 90s went on, I think. But I think I don't know about the 80s. I quite like the 80s till about the very late 80s. Old statement. It's all a matter of opinion and age. Yeah, every decade has their up and downs, and certain genres emerge. Um, come and they go. A genre doesn't seem to last very long, does it? It's just a matter of years, and then it rolls into something else. You know, disco, punk. And it rolls into all sorts of things, doesn't it? Depending on where you are in the world. The only thing what really sort of lasts is pop music. But that changes. Even pop music. Pop music is just a broad name for popular music. That's what it is. Popular music. It doesn't really define anything, does it? Popular music. Um, so you could define all music as popular if it is popular. I mean, you could say Beatles is pop music. But guitar music, um, there seems to be a war of guitar music, doesn't there? For me, I think it started, when sort of like the X Factor came out and all those manufactured music programs. That just killed it, I think. It, the expense of promoting bands is just so much money. It's just easy to get an attractive pop singer who can. I wouldn't even say necessarily have to sing very well. They don't need to be a great singer. Just have the looks and a reasonably good voice. That's normally enough. They can take care of the rest, and they can promote them with some success without having to worry about a band and their temper tantrums and their drugs and their this and their that. Bands cause for people who want to promote them. It's a headache. and it's a risk. It's a financial risk. More than 50% of pop music is created without instruments now. I wouldn't even say like the, the the artists write their own music. There's not many that do, I don't think. Pop music has been going downhill since the 90s. Top 5 U2 LPs. Oh, I wouldn't have. I'll have to give it some thought. If I had to choose U2 or REM, that's a tough one. That is tough. U2 or REM? I wouldn't like to say. I suppose majority would probably say U2. U2 was a better band than REM, but I like the hits of REM, I must admit. I think maybe U2 probably wins it on albums. Maybe U2's albums are slightly better than REM's. There's more sort of, for me, more hit makers are REM, but it's close. Worst 3 Britpop bands ever. Oh God, Britpop bands. I don't even want to go there. Simon, do another thoughts video on people who film collection purge videos. I haven't done a purge in a while actually, but I will be slimming down a few things. I will be actually purging my record collection and my CD collection actually. I've got a few videos in mind, but I just not got around to doing them. I've just been distracted with doing other stuff at the moment. It's just I don't know. It just doesn't seem as. I really should knuckle down and start doing some videos and doing a lot of stuff, but I've just struggle at the moment. Either it's either my time or I'm just distracted doing other stuff. I've got a few good ideas actually. But you're right, William. I'm guessing it's William. Yeah, AL is making music now as well. Yeah. Is this the end? Is this the end of music? I mean, it's just going to be more and more manufactured crap, isn't it? Manufactured pap put in a can and sold to people. Yeah, I tend to agree. U2 were more of an album band from day one. REM started way later with more album-based material. What's their really early album, REM, their debut? Didn't they not come out in the 80s? I don't think it's particularly all that well known either. Are they really 2-0 up? They're always a strong side, aren't they, Germany? Murmur, that's it, 1983, yeah. How much will a copy of Murmur set you back now? 50 quid? More or less? Chronic Town EP. Yeah, can't really include EPs. Has to be an album, doesn't it? At one point, I owned eight copies of Murmur. Good luck finding one now. How the hell did you get your hands on 8 copies? That's insane. I was watching that University of Vinyl channel maybe a year or two ago, and he brought up there is a Quietex copy of Murmur, REM Murmur, done on Quietex vinyl, which is quite like a special type of vinyl where it sounds, quiet in the quiet passages and this kind of thing. And that's about £100 to get a copy of that. It's like a special edition. It was released, I think, at the time when the album came out. It wasn't sort of like re-released years later, I don't think. From Automatic for the People, or Everyone Hurts. I got the 7-inch of that song, actually. Been actually going through my 7-inch singles, actually, and recording them. I got so many, I don't know what to do with now. When you got singles and they start flooding out in different places where you don't want them to be, that's a problem. I need to get rid of some and squash them all back into a box. We'll do a video about that, actually. Just me flicking through 7-inch singles. Put a bit of music in the background or something. It makes a popular video, a video like that. You can talk about videos till you're blue in the face. Videos? Did I just say videos? You can talk about vinyl records, albums, whatever, until you're blue in the face on a video, and like it won't get a lot of interest for whatever reason. But like if you do close-up videos of either albums or singles or whatever, and you give it like a fancy thumbnail, people find that well, they want to watch videos like that, where you're sort of trolling through records rather than talking about them rather. You don't even have to like buy records. You can just go to like a record shop, charity shop even, do a little video just flicking through records, and that gets a lot of views, providing your thumbnail is good. You don't have to even talk about, anything really. High tech problems, but I'm alive and running. You got around it. It's funny, isn't it? You can be fine, can't you, for a number of weeks or whatever, and then suddenly you want to do a live stream and you've got technical problems. Just goes that way, doesn't it? Just these things spring up on you. Any gossip? Anyone? Anyone know anything? What's going on in the world of the vinyl community? Worth discussing? What dramas? Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't know. I'm so out of the loop now. The internet was going nuts. About to hit the pool. I'm listening. I'll be listening in. I've already halved my my DVD collection. It's taken me God knows how long, but I got it next to me here, just behind me, here, beside of me rather. 4 bags of vinyl. Vinyl? Getting my words mixed up today. 4 bags of DVDs, and yeah, that's my collection now. I've taken about, I don't know, maybe 8 bags of DVDs to the charity shops. They're just flooded with them at the moment. I think they're turning them down now. So just influx of DVDs at the moment. I can understand it, because most people are streaming their stuff now, aren't they? But will people regret it? Will I regret it? Like back in the 80s, where people were getting rid of their vinyl, to transition to CDs. They were the latest, greatest thing, weren't they? At the time. Now people are regretting doing that, aren't they? Oh, I got rid of all my vinyl, to go get all the new CDs which came out in the early 80s. Oh no, I regret doing that. It made sense at the time though, didn't it? You can't argue, Vinyl was a hassle. It is a hassle, and it can sound bad when it starts crackling, and you know, stuff like that. I get it, you know. But if vinyl was still worthless, like still had, let's say vinyl still had the same worth as a CD, you know, people wouldn't give it too much thought, would they? They'd be like, meh, you know. It's only because there's the resurgence and, you know, vinyl's popular and it's going up in value that people are starting to have guilt and regrets, you know. I was too young for that anyway. Didn't affect me. I wasn't even born then. Nothing is worthless as long as money is to be made. I never ditched my vinyl, says Ian. My parents did. Like they had like some stuff of my dad's from the 60s, 7-inch singles, you know, the Kinks, stuff like that. And my mum had her own little collection of records as well, which they had sort of like 70s and 80s albums and singles. And somewhere in about, I'll say probably maybe the late 90s, I think they ditched them. They just dropped them off to the charity shop. Don't think there was anything like there which was sort of, you know, worth anything. It was just all kind of common, kind of attainable stuff. You're gonna need to connect your microphone, Richard. I can't put you up on screen. Here it is.
Hi, Simon.
You all right, Richard?
You well? You
Yeah.
started
Yourself?
Grand. You know, a week over, so it's the weekend. God.
Not working tonight then? Oh,
No, I never work on a Friday night.
no.
I work on a Sunday night, and then I finish on a Friday morning. So I sleep most of the day on Friday, and usually I'm just knackered the whole day anyway. But my shifts are changing a little bit. There's going to be 1 week a month. The first week every month, I'll be doing a day shift.
Right.
And the other 3 night shifts. So it mixes it up a little for me.
You work part time then, do you, Richard?
No, full time. I'm 40 hours a week. Yeah, bakery.
Nice.
And have to travel. Funny enough, at night time, it takes me about 30 to 35 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
In the daytime, it takes me about 50 to 55 minutes getting back. So it's all to do with the traffic.
Some trick then.
It's not really. If you think about the people in, Jimmy, you think about the people in, you know, people in London are commuting for an hour and a half, 2 hours every day. So
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Not too bad. So, well, I saw your video, Jimmy, on your New Order 12-inch singles, and I have to reiterate, New Order are crap with their picture covers. 12-inch, 7-inch, they're rubbish. Good records in the early 80s, but their pictures are terrible.
Right, so we're arguing this early in the evening, are we?
Oh God, yes.
Peter Saville is one of the hiring. Peter Saville is the greatest graphic designer this country ever produced.
I think it was Jimmy
I've
Savile.
got, I
that
think
those
I'm
ones.
going to. If I keep dropping out tonight, guys, it's my internet is having a. I don't know. Everyone must be on the internet tonight.
You need to referee me and Richard, though, Ian.
Yeah, and I'm standing up for Nick
I
as
don't know.
well.
He just wants to see a scrap. He don't mind. Yeah, he wants blood.
No.
I wouldn't say that.
No. I'm a nice fella.
Factory record sleeves and Joy Division and New Order sleeves, the works of art. They're not meant to advertise the product particularly. That's like the anti of what they are.
Yeah. Okay, if you say so. I know
It's not that I say so. That's what it is. That's a fact.
They're sparse. They are, but they're crap.
But they're meant to be. That's the point. You don't want them in like, I don't know, like a really gaudy sleeve every time that says the band name when you know who it is. It's like a kind of not in joke, but it's like a secret, isn't it? It's like, oh, hang on, that looks a bit mysterious. That might be a Savile sleeve, therefore it's a New Order record.
Yeah, but it sort of makes you wonder why bother. Why not just put it in a plain white sleeve?
Well, some they did. Subculture, although that was more because, there's conflicting stories. But one story was the band didn't like the remix on it, so they just refused to submit any ideas to Peter Saville for a sleeve. And the other suggestion, which is more believable, is that Peter Saville was just way too late with it because he was late with all his work generally anyway. So,
yeah. Well, I'll give you Thieves Like Us, which wasn't shown today. It's not a bad sleeve. It's a decent sleeve.
I've got the reissue 12-inch of that, and the Murder single that came afterwards is similar. It's just a different color scheme and slightly different design.
Well, I have the original 12-inch single of Thieves Like Us.
I prefer reissues. I'd rather. That's why I've not completed my New Order singles collection because I'm waiting for more reissues to come out. This poster behind me. I mean, that's not a bad. I mean, that's a record sleeve base, so that's all right, isn't it?
That's all right. Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, the painting was by someone out of Martha and the Muffins, who I'm sure you're more familiar with than I am. I know Echo B, obviously. Yeah.
Well, Canadian band. But what's the single, which is just a plain white sleeve with an orange line across near the bottom of it?
That was Crystal. There was like one with a red line, one with an orange line, one with a green line. Admittedly, by that stage, it seemed a little bit lazy, but I'm not saying all the covers are great because they're not, but I think the ones from the 80s and most of the 90s are pretty good on the whole.
Was the red one for you to stop, the orange one for you to get ready to go, and then the green one for you to go buy it? Sorry.
You know what? I never thought of it like that. You've cracked the code there, Richard. Actually, well, it never occurred to me. Red, orange, green, and then now you said it. Because the album it came off was Get Ready. So
there you go. There you go. Oh, well. So, see what the scores are here.
Still 2-0. I've been off.
Yeah.
Does it interest you this football, Richard, or do you sort of passively sort of take notice of it?
Yeah, very kind of passively, really. I mean, my national team, the one I support, is Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and they haven't qualified for anything for years because they're shite. So by default, I will support England and watch England matches, but I don't get as upset as everyone else does when they inevitably come crashing out. Although they did get last time.
I only sort of take notice when they make the knockout stages. Really, I'm not too invested otherwise.
I don't know. I like the group stages better. I like once it gets to the knockout stages, it's like you kind of. Well, it's nearly over now, really. It's like, I I kind of like the early bits, you know, where it's groups and tables and stuff. But that's me.
Well, I would be Northern Ireland, but they are worse than the Republic of Ireland. So they are.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, Richard, but yeah.
No, they are. They're terrible. They can be beat by the local girls' guide team, so they could.
What was it? Was it 2016? Was it when they qualified, Wales qualified, England did, and the Republic did? I think they were the most home nations. Although Republic of Ireland isn't technically a home nation, but you know, that's a different issue, really. But yeah, that was the most kind of home nations that had been in a tournament together for donkey's years, I think.
I know. If I'm being realistic, all the teams, the actual home nations, okay, Northern Ireland #1, but I will support England ahead of the other ones. I'll support England ahead of Scotland and Wales and the Republic of Ireland, and the reason being is it's the Premiership. I watched the Premiership. I noticed a lot of people who are big fans of certain, I don't know, maybe they're anti-England, right? And they've got a Scottish player playing for, say, Liverpool. No, it's the other way around. They're anti-England, but they support Liverpool. But then England players from Liverpool play for England, and they can't stand them anymore. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
For example, their Kai Havertz is playing tonight. And I know Germany are going to win. Anyway, I would prefer Scotland to win. But if Germany wins, I want Kai Havertz to score because I want the Arsenal players to do well. And I'm sure, I don't know if you're the same with the Tottenham ones. Simon?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about the Premier League. I mean, I love the FA Cup, but that's kind of lost its kind of novelty now, hasn't it, for the last 20 odd years or so, maybe a little bit longer. The Premier League, and if you can make the Champions League, those two are the ones to watch.
You see, even way back whenever I was a kid, you boys weren't born. The FA Cup final was a huge day.
It
got
was
up on Saturday.
Yeah.
You watched France. I've even seen the guys, the teams getting their breakfast and everything, and then getting onto the bus to go to Wembley, and it was a whole full day. Yeah. The match was always at 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon, and you had two choices: ITV with Brian Moore or BBC with John Watson.
I'd say arguably it was probably about maybe the mid-90s. The FA Cup kind of started losing its.
Yeah, I agree. The 90s.
I remember those Saturday afternoons and seeing the coaches and all the build-up and everything. It was the best. It was the best day of the season. As a neutral, you know.
I think you're right as well, because the European Cup Winners' Cup, the last year of it was 1995, and that was the competition that you got into by winning the FA Cup, even though now you get into the Europa League, don't you? So Chelsea, maybe the holders, 96 possibly. I think they're the holders. Well, that's one. And 95 Cup Winners' Cup was a heartbreak for me because we got beat by Zaragoza. And the guy, Naeem, ex-Tottenham player, scored from halfway line.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was nearly in tears at that one. So
yeah, I know. I remember.
Well, it's your own fault. No one forced you to support Arsenal. Come on.
I think one of the most hammering blows, I think, as a kid in the 90s was watching Spurs get to the semi-final of the FA Cup in 90. I think it was 94-95 season, and we played Everton, and thinking that we got a chance to make the final here, because we had the likes of Klinsmann and Sheringham, up front, and they hammered us something like 4-1, and they went on and beat Man United and won the FA Cup.
That's right. Joe Royle was the manager of Everton at the time, I think.
Yeah. I think they did it 10 years before, didn't they? Sort of 80.
I think Germany have got a penalty, yeah.
But in the mid-80s, Everton were the second best team in the league.
It looked like he's taken Gundogan.
That was a bit of blow, losing like that, Yeah.
Well, that's the same with me in 91, with you guys putting us out of the FA Cup final or semi-final. with Gaza's fantastic free kick.
What a free kick that was!
Although I have to admit it was bloody brilliant, but he
Yeah.
was.
He was
player.
that FA Cup. He was electric that
I know
season. You know,
he was absolutely brilliant.
yeah.
You know, was it 91? Wasn't it? Yeah, it was 91.
Was 91. Yeah, it's the last time they won it.
Yeah.
Not unbelievable, really. That's so many years ago now. Yeah.
Oh, he got red carded for that. I didn't realise.
Who's a scorer?
Porteous, they've got Germany have got a penalty. It went to VAR check. Yeah, direct red card. I mean, it did look quite and not vicious because I don't think there was malice in it, but you could tell it. You could tell it came keen. They're just gearing up to take the penalty now. Is it Gundogan who's taking it?
I think that particular semi-final, Richard, sticks out more in the memory because the semi-final was played at Wembley, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
You know,
Wasn't that the first? That was the first year that the two semi-finals were all at Wembley, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
I think they even played the Community Shield, didn't they, as well? Tottenham and Arsenal, didn't they? It was a draw, wasn't it?
Because we won the Liga
Yeah.
that year. Yeah, it went to a draw, and I think David Seaman might have
Hello.
taken it.
Can you hear
Hello.
me? Can you
You're back.
see
We
me?
can hear you. Yeah. What happened there then? Just went dead.
I don't know. It's having a right old hissy fit tonight.
Oh,
I
it's
don't know
3.
what's going on with it?
Yeah, 3-0.
Who scored the penalty?
Havertz, I think.
I know I shouldn't do this, but I love Kai Havertz.
I'm into a lot of German music, so I'm kind of on the German side generally for most things anyway. So.
Klinsmann was in the side that won it in '96, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
A choice between him and Tom Bailey for the best diver ever.
Klinsmann. He was
What
world
was the
class.
other one was good at? What was his name? The one with the perm there. Is it Rudy Kroll? He was a bigger diver than Klinsmann.
Oh, Rudy Voller, yeah, he was. He liked to take some dives. Didn't
A really good player.
He did
Think
in
about Germany.
I mean, he wasn't his dive that won the World Cup
he?
in the 1990.
Yeah.
Thing about Germany though is no matter how bad a side they have, you can never rule them out. Never rule them out.
Who would be your favourite Arsenal player, Richard?
My favourite Arsenal player now at the moment or of all time?
In history, all time, yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Tony Adams.
Liam Brady. Oh, I thought you were going to say Liam Brady.
Oh, he's up there. Liam Brady would be in my all-time 11 Arsenal team. Tony
I thought
Adams.
you might say Thierry Henry.
Do you know what? I'm going to be very controversial here, but Henry doesn't even make my all-time 11 team.
Really?
Ian Wright.
Not even on the bench.
He's on the bench, but Ian Wright would. The way I look at it is Henry is the all-time greatest scorer for Arsenal.
Yeah.
But who do they have supplying him? He had Robert Perez, he had Dennis Bergkamp,
Half
and
the French
Ashley
team.
Cole and all the rest of them. Yeah. Ian Wright had people like Stephen Morrow and Ian Selly, absolute rubbish players, and he still became the all-time greatest players.
True.
Yeah. Okay, Paul Merson as well was a very, very good player. And for the last year and a half, he had Dennis Bergkamp. But Ian Wright had to make a lot of those goals out of him from himself, really. They weren't supplied to him on a plate. Yeah, Henry's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong, he is. And the goal against Tottenham is probably my third favourite all-time Arsenal goal, the one where he took it from before the halfway line and ran through about 3 defenders and put it in the corner of the net. I don't know if you remember that one, but it was the year of the... My second favourite all-time Arsenal goal is the Dennis Bergkamp one against Newcastle, where he did a pirouette around the defender and left them for dead.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Yeah, he was a class act though, Dennis.
he
Yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah.
My all-time favourite goal is actually from the most underrated Arsenal/Chelsea player ever, Olivier Giroud and his scorpion kick. And I can't even remember who it was against, but I just loved that. It was actually like a scorpion. He kicked it from behind, from the back of his heel, right in the top hand corner. That's my all-time favourite. So,
Hey, good job there wasn't VAR back in them days, because the Arsenal offside trap, VAR have had a.
I was thinking there, Ian, about Northampton, and I always thought Northampton always rings a bell when it comes to football. What was it? It was Northampton that George Best scored 6 goals against, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Who would you say would be the greatest Arsenal team? The team that won it in the early 70s, 70 to 71?
No, the best ever Arsenal team is the Invincibles.
The Invincibles.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. You know, and if I were to put any of the players from today in there, I would take out Lauren and put in Ben White. I would take out, I hate doing this, but I'd take out Gabriel and put in Tony Adams, even though he wasn't invincible. Sorry. No, I would keep those two, Kolo Toure and, Sol Campbell. And
I've never seen a team that could pass the ball around as well as that team.
I know, they were brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
They were unbelievable.
But even the ones after the Invincibles were good football, but you know they were too weak, and they were too like the goal that Jack Wilshere scored. And again, I can't remember who it was against, but the build-up play was absolutely brilliant. But this time, Arsenal were lucky to get in the top 4, but they could still play football. They just didn't have a killer instinct.
No,
which I think
just fell short of it, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think they're a bit unlucky, but.
Yeah, because I hate saying this, but you guys are now getting a tag that we were getting. You are now saying, "Oh, Spurs will never win because they're too Spursy." You need to get rid of that, because that will stick. And Arsenal have had that for about 15 years now. So they have, you know, they're just not. They don't have. They'll bottle it. We're the bottlers. You are the Spursy team.
Yeah, but you can win it silverware and other tournaments, can't you? FA Cup and
you can. But what do you want for Spurs? Do you want Spurs just to be a cup team, or do you want them to be top 4, or do you want? Obviously, you want them to win the league, but would you be happy if they got top 4, say 4 times in 5 years?
I want a 6-pack and a night with Monica Bellucci.
In the long run,
probably more realistic than Spurs ever winning the league.
You need to be in the top 4 realistically these days, don't you?
And can I ask you about the game against Man City? And all the Spurs fans were wearing City shirts and hoping that City would beat Spurs. What did you think about that? I thought it was terrible. I can understand them doing it.
I get it. I didn't really want Spurs to win it. I really didn't, admittedly. I think because we were such on a bad streak, I was thinking, oh, this would be the game where we turn things around and go on, but win it. You know, all games you have to win, it would have to be this one. Luckily, it didn't happen. You know, and I was glad it didn't, quite honestly.
But if you hadn't won it, you would have been in the top 4.
Not necessarily.
You would have.
No, they wouldn't.
Because Aston Villa didn't get enough points, and they were hammered by Crystal Palace in the last game. And
I don't think they would have made it, regardless of the. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
I must check the table later on and see.
You have to check it.
What
I heard, Richard, we couldn't have done it, even if you did win it. I think we were a point short.
I don't think so. I think you would have been an equal points, I think, with a better goal difference. But it doesn't matter now. So.
Well, let's say for argument's sake you're right. You know, and let's say we will make Champions League football. If Spurs aren't, if they're not ready for Champions League football, which I don't believe they are, I'm quite happy for us to be in Europa. I think from a team who hasn't been in Europe, suddenly to make the Europa League is a good stepping stone to progress.
It is, but in reality, Simon, you get into the Champions League, you get a heck of a lot more money. You attract a heck of a lot more interest from the bigger players.
Tottenham
will help you.
2 points behind Aston Villa, by the way.
Sorry?
2.
Yeah, Spurs finished 2 points behind
That's
Villa.
what I thought. So had we won, had we beat City, we'd still be a point behind. So we would have been able
you'd have been on 69 instead of 66.
You'd have been in fourth place.
Yeah. Oh, I'm wrong then.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I could never understand. If you were mid-table fighting for nothing, yeah, fine. But you had a really good chance of getting into the Champions League, getting extra finance in, which will help with your spending and buying better players. It'll help with this fair play crap as well.
God.
And
yeah,
you know,
but imagine the stick we would got had we have beaten City from Arsenal fans. It'll be relentless. You know.
turn the other cheek. Just turn the other cheek.
I'd have to live with that for the rest of my
your
life.
own team, somebody else's.
I'd have to live with that for the rest of my life, like non-stop, whilst we just make Champions League football for one season.
Yeah.
What would you rather? Yeah.
Well, no, I would rather get the Champions League because once you're in, as I say, you attract more money, you get more money, you attract better players, and your club builds. Okay, there's nothing wrong with Europa League at all. Grand, and it's great to win but it's very defeatist just to say, we're not ready for it yet. You were in the Champions League.
We're not. I mean, look at how they play football. Tottenham. They're all, all these players are upfield, and we can see loads of goals, and it ain't going to work in the Champions League, not unless it's properly set right. We need a few more players, I think.
Oh, of course you do, and the Champions League money would get you that. But anyway, it's up to you.
But we got good revenue at Tottenham. We have got the money.
Yeah.
Just I think they're just a bit more reluctant to spend it than other clubs.
Well, I know Daniel Levy's pretty mingy with his purse strings, so he is.
He is, yeah, he is. I would like to see it run as a football club more than a business at times. It does irk me off, admittedly.
I know Big Ange was disgusted with some of the Spurs fans over that match against Man City.
Yeah, well, they don't understand the hatred, do they?
Why is the hate? Like you live around that. Well, you're in England, south of England. Why is the hate so much? I don't detest Spurs. I never have. Never have.
It's only certain people who do. I mean, it's just tribalism, isn't it? That's been ingrained for decades and decades. And if people kind of just grew up and thought, well, yeah, it is just like a game of football at the end of it all, then obviously there'd still be rivalries and stuff. You need it. You need rivalries in sports and in football. But
when you look at the sort of the videos people take outside of the football ground when Tottenham and Arsenal play, it is hatred. It is hate. There's fights being broken out. They hate each other. They're shouting at each other in the streets. It's a bitter rivalry. Like no other rival club, I don't think. I think Tottenham and Arsenal was probably one of the worst in the world, I think.
Nah, there's way worse. I mean, I can think of Rangers. I think Man United. I think Man United, Liverpool probably more intense.
No, I don't. I think
it was once upon a time, maybe.
Barca and Real.
There's
loads of them, but Spurs and Arsenal it's got to be on the list, isn't it?
I think part of the reason is that Arsenal came from South London, from Woolwich.
Yeah, from Woolwich, yeah.
But Spurs weren't originally in North London either, I don't believe. Were they not from Essex or something?
No, they were North London. What?
I'm not sure. Well,
they started from was it a cricket club that turned into a football club?
In North London?
Didn't they?
North London, yeah. Yeah.
I thought they came to North London from a different area and around London or just outside London. I'm not sure about obviously there
I
before.
don't think so. I don't think so. Unless you know something I don't.
Jimmy, do your investigative work.
It was kind of the origins are a cricket club. Then in 1884 they were renamed Tottenham Hotspur Football Club to avoid confusion with another London club named Hotspur, whose post had been mistakenly delivered to North London. So where were they formed then?
Well, it would have been North London then.
North London, yeah. Because the White Hart Lane was regarding the White Hart pub, which they used to come out from, you know.
Formation, Tottenham
So-
Grammar School.
Who's your favourite all-time Spurs player?
I'd have to say Glenn Hoddle.
Fantastic, wasn't he? Absolutely
Yeah.
player.
Yeah. Of course, the best team was the '60s team that won the double.
Yep.
But I think Glenn does it for me as the best player.
Mhm.
Of course, Greavesy, I suppose, as well, be up there. And
His scoring record was unbelievable.
it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't he injured for the World Cup final in '66, or was he dropped? I can't remember. Well, it was only
One of the two,
one month old.
yeah, one of the two. But he wasn't a part of the team that won the double, was he, Greavesy? He came in after.
Did he? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he did.
that would have meant Danny Blanchflower. Was he before the double?
He was, yeah. Blanchflower was the captain.
Was he? All right.
Yeah.
Good Northern Ireland man.
And they won their first 11 matches. That was the first for the time.
Mhm.
You know, you win your first 11 games, and still having
So
problems.
one question: how did you feel when Saul Campbell defected?
Oh, gutted. I'm still am suffering. I still am. That was just the worst thing I think anything can happen to a fan of football.
Yeah.
You know, having your captain go to a rival club on the free, you know, no transfer fee, run down his contract and then went to them next door. That's
And
it
then
doesn't get
went
much
to double.
worse than that. Let's be honest, Richard. You know, imagine a player who you had a captain when you went to Tottenham.
The one that hurt me the most was Robin van Persie going to Man United. I didn't know whether to get really angry, burn the house down, or just start crying. I was absolutely gutted that he went.
In the end, you did all three. About it in the papers at the time.
Fabregas going to Barcelona didn't bother me because that was his home city, really. So fair enough. Sanchez going to Man United didn't really bother me either because I thought he was a bit of a dodgy character as it was anyway, even though he was a good player. But Van Persie, we nurtured him through all his injuries. He had a brilliant season with us, and then gave us the middle finger. And I thought, right, F you.
Still not as bad though, is it?
I know that's worse.
Not as bad. I know. I mean, they nabbed a few Spurs players over the years. Teddy Sheringham went to Man United.
Yeah.
Berbatov.
Yeah.
Carrick, he went to Man United as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you some of ours as well. Not directly from us, like another club. William Gallas, who I never liked anyway, because he's a Chelsea player, and I thought he was a huffy sod. And then you got Adebayor as well for a while.
He's been to a number of clubs, though, hasn't he?
Well, he went to the City.
You see, down in the lower leagues, when the Cobblers usually get promoted, that we have our players that got us promoted are snapped up by other clubs.
Well, that's normally
from higher divisions. So it can be very frustrating. I mean, one year we lost Trevor Morley. You know, he got us out of the 4th division, and he didn't play for us anymore. I think he went to Aston Villa or Manchester City.
Do you remember when Eddie Bayor, when he was playing for City, and he ran the length of the field to celebrate his goal against the Arsenal fans?
I know. I don't think the Arsenal fans were too happy with him.
No.
You know, I whenever I saw that, I went, do, hello, Helmet, can you do me a favour, please?
I think I'll tell you what. I mean, this is going back many years, but I think the greatest defect was Dennis Law, wasn't it? He went from United to City, and then relegated Man United.
I know, but he didn't celebrate. He felt dreadful as well.
Yeah,
but the way it goes.
How did you feel about George Graham coming to Spurs?
It didn't really bother me because I thought we had the best out of him anyway.
He did.
And the last couple of years were not great, and he wasn't buying really good players. He did okay with Leeds. If he had gone directly from Arsenal to Spurs, yes, I would have been happy. But he went via Leeds first and then Spurs. Didn't really bother me because at that time we had Arsene Wenger anyway.
Yeah.
The one manager we did have, I didn't think got a good enough chance was Bruce Rioch. But I'm glad he didn't because we would never got Wenger otherwise. But I'm happy with the manager. I wanted Arteta after Wenger. I wanted Arteta then. He was interviewed for the job and they didn't give it. They gave it to Unai Emery. Now, Unai Emery is a very good manager, but if you watch Unai Emery, he's doing exactly the same thing with Villa as he's doing with Arsenal. Started off great with Arsenal and then started to decline. He's done the same with Aston Villa, and Villa just scraped over the line to get the top four. So we'll see how good he is next year. Yes, I do have a football single. It's Hot Stuff, a reworking of the Donna Summer song by the Arsenal Football Club 1998. The one that won.
I actually, as a kid, and I don't know where it went, but I had a Nottingham Forest one.
All right. Okay.
I
had Brian Clough. Brilliant.
Yeah. We have got the whole world in our hands.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, when Nottingham Forest were probably the best football team in the land.
They were the best team in Europe 2 years in a row.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, his dream.
Yeah.
He's playing for Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham.
Glory Tottenham Hotspur on there as well. And we've also got the this came out 78. Is it 78? Yeah, 78. Tribute to Ardiles and Villa. Amigos at the Lane. You probably won't know that, but
no.
Yeah.
Ricky Villa was a great player as well. 2 from the 78 World Cup.
Yeah, and Spurs just snapped them up, didn't they? Just after the World Cup of that time. You know, considering we were relegated, weren't we? And we could be bounced back, and we signed 2 world-class players like that. It was quite something back in the day.
Yeah, is that the season that Colin Lee scored 6 goals against Bristol Rovers?
78.
Yeah, when they played Bristol Rovers, and I think they won 9-0.
I wouldn't know.
How did you become a Tottenham supporter, Simon?
Because of my father.
Your father?
Yeah. And he got it because of the 60s team, I think, inspired him to support Tottenham. You know, winning the double, the first team to win the double. You
see, with me with Arsenal, my father actually bought me a Manchester City away strip way back from the early 70s, which didn't fit me. It was about 20 times too big for me. And it's photographs and an album, and it looked stupid. But I remember seeing my brother had a soccer annual, and I was flicking through it, and there was a picture of Ray Kennedy in the Arsenal strip. And I said to him, "What team is that?" Because I thought the strip was cool with the red and then the white sleeves. He said, "Arsenal," and I said, "I'm an Arsenal fan," and I must have been around 1974 or so. So I've been about 8.
My mum's side is all Arsenal. And my
Oh, is that right?
partner is even Arsenal.
Oh my goodness!
So it's all Tottenham and Arsenal, my side of the family.
God.
So yes, it's a bit, But my dad used to say when Mackay broke his leg in the semi-finals, I think it was in the 60s. They played United, and Mackay broke his leg. And he said ever since that time, that date, Spurs have always seemed to decline. It's kind of hit this kind of peak, and then ever since that happened, there's been a decline. You never really sort of reached the same heights as once did.
Is that Dave Mackay?
Dave Mackay, yeah.
He went on to manage Man United and Chelsea.
Did he? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He went to Derby as well, didn't he? He played for Derby and he won the league, didn't he?
Correct.
Yeah. But
Also,
well, Dave Sexton who managed Man United and Chelsea.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of. Sorry, you could be right. No,
Mackay, he was at Derby as
sorry.
player, maybe a manager. It was Miles with Clough for some years, wasn't he? Yeah, Sexton, was the guy thinking of.
Here, Jimmy, what about Peter Taylor? What was his actual role? Was he actually the coach for Forest? Because it was always Brian Clough and Peter Taylor.
Yeah, it was more like a management partnership, but Clough was kind of like the mouthpiece. But a lot of the really good signings were, the guys Taylor had wanted, and he did obviously. I mean, Clough, they both did coaching, different variants of it. But it was always a partnership, really. But it was kind of like maybe not quite an equal partnership because Clough, he had the official manager role, but it was always a double act. Clough was never the same when Taylor had when he wasn't working with Taylor, and then he fell out. Where was it Taylor went to? I mean, he did go to Derby eventually, or back to Derby, I should say, because obviously they were both at Derby in the late 60s, early 70s. When
they went to Brighton, didn't they?
Yeah, they were both at Brighton. I think they were only like third division at that point. They got hammered in the FA Cup by some non-league team. I don't even know if they exist now, like Hitchin and something or other, I think. Yeah.
I must have watched that movie, Damn United, probably about 10 times. I think.
Oh, you'll have seen me in it then, obviously. Unless you happen to blink during that point, obviously. But I've seen it a few times. Trouble is, it's got a few inaccuracies in it, so it's.
Has it?
The book is just as bad. From what I've not read the book, I've kind of refused to really. I like the film for what it is, but I don't take too much of it seriously. Really, it's
no.
It's like the way Brian Clough were portrayed in it, were like sort of smoking and drinking all the time, and apparently that was more towards the end. Like the kind of late 80s, early 90s when his alcoholism really kicked in. I mean, he'd always liked to drink, but. They were kind of portraying him as this sort of like, big drinker and smoker in the 70s, and he wasn't. He was, a fit, relatively healthy, clean living guy by, the standards of the day anyway.
It is a very good film. Not a patch or a fever pitch, so that's.
I've never seen Fever Pitch. I want to. It's one of those that's on my. If I see it like on a streaming platform, I'll watch it, kind of thing. Like I only just got around to watching The Long Good Friday the other day. Never seen that until a few days ago.
I think Roy Keane gives Tottenham a bit of a hard time, doesn't he? But I think a lot of that is due to him being a part of that Forest team that Tottenham beat in the FA Cup final, because he was quite young there, wasn't he? But he was a part of it. I think he's never really got over it.
And, no, Keane not getting over something, surely not.
You tend to forget that Roy Keane played for Forest, so you do.
I know.
I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
Proud that he was at Forest. That's the thing. All my favourite Forest players have been like they weren't there for very long. Like Roy Keane, Stan Collymore. He only had a couple of seasons there, and he was brilliant. Brian Roy was all right.
Mm.
I'm thinking it's sort of more, my era in the 90s, but
we took Viv Anderson from you, and Tony Woodcock, he's another brilliant player. We took him as well. Maybe at the end of their careers a little bit, but still. But that Forest team with Martin O'Neill and is it John Robertson?
Yeah, John Robertson. Yeah.
Absolute brilliant team. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Shilton and goals. Trevor Francis.
I was watching some footage of Gaza quite recently. Came up his best moments and what have you. And that penalty he took against that team in the FA Cup the year we won it, I think it was. He did a Rabona and scored. I mean, he was class, wasn't he, Gaza? He was.
When he was in the mood, he was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, he really was.
It's just
Man United wanted him same time as Spurs, didn't they? And I think he chose Spurs. Yes. Well, I mean, I think maybe the London nightlife might have swayed him a little bit.
I think Venables brought him a house, I think, and I think persuaded him to stay at Tottenham.
I've heard people say, well, if Gaza had signed for Man United, United would have, really stepped up a gear. But what Ferguson were like. He wouldn't tolerate any shit. I think he would have kicked Gascoigne's arse in shredded duck. I don't think Gaza would have lasted more than a couple of seasons at Man United. Ferguson. No. So it's interesting to think what if, what if he had time for United.
I mean, David Beckham could have ended up going to play for Tottenham, couldn't he? There's all sorts of what's if.
He fell out with him, didn't he? Yeah, he chucked something at him or something like that, like cut his head open or something. And that's Beckham, who, with the best will in the world, is not a particularly offensive kind of guy, is he?
No.
He kicked a boot that was on the floor in the changing room, and it hit Beckham in the head. It hit Beckham in the head.
Was it Beckham?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned Viv Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him play for United at Old Trafford against Liverpool years ago. He had an interest. His job was to mark John Barnes, and he had an interesting way of doing it because he was marking him from about fucking 50 yards away. And every time Barnes got the ball, there was a shout come up from the Stretford end. He's over there. He's over there. He was bloody awful.
That was near the end of his career, though, wasn't it, Viv Anderson? Because he went to United from us.
Yeah.
He was actually, wasn't he the first black footballer to play for England?
He was, yeah.
Apart from, I think, Tottenham winning the FA Cup in the 90s, the 90s on the whole were pretty awful, really, for Tottenham. I know we did have some fantastic players, David Ginola, we had, and Klinsmann, of course, and, one or two others. But, some of those seasons we were fighting relegation, Very, very dodgy. Yeah.
Tottenham had some bloody fantastic players.
I have. Yeah, I have.
I just like watching Steve Archibald. He was a good player.
Yeah, dynamic duo with him with
Mickey Hazard.
Yeah, Hazard. Yeah.
Darren Anderton.
Yeah. Sick note. I've seen Darren Anderton play. I went to an old Legends game It was done by Ledley Keane, testimonial, I think it was. And all these sort of players from the 90s come over. And I got to see a lot of those players. But yeah, Archibald, Gareth Crooks up front.
Gareth Crooks, yeah. Oh, he was.
I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
My nan, my gran, she was a Stoke-on-Trent lass.
Yeah.
Of course, Gareth Crooks used to play for Stoke City. And every time we used to go up to Stoke to see my grandparents and that, she'd sit me on her knee and tell me all about Stoke City and Stanley Matthews and how all the shopkeepers and that would board up their windows when Man United were in town because of all the fans smashing the windows and all that. And she loved Gareth Crooks. Fantastic player he was.
I think in terms of rivalry, Tottenham and Arsenal, I think the 80s was probably quite a close call, wasn't it, between Tottenham and Arsenal? There wasn't a lot between them, I don't think.
The mid-80s were sort of wilderness years for us. The end of Terry Neal and the start of Don Howe. We weren't brilliant. Okay, I think we got a number 3 finish, a 3rd place finish, but I think it was at that time there was how many went into the UEFA? Well, the league, it was just the 2nd place one, wasn't it? You had your one for the European Cup.
I don't know when they changed it. I can't remember.
I think that, well, no European football. I don't think there was European football after '85 because of the Liverpool incident.
Yeah.
So whenever we did win the league in '89, there was no European football.
I think Everton had won the league, hadn't they?
Yeah.
They couldn't play because of what happened at Heysel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The 80s, not a lot. George Graham did start turning it around for us, so you have to give him that.
He did.
We got the Littlewoods Cup, as it was called then, the Caribou
That's the
Cup.
League Cup, right?
Yeah, and it was a case of no, Liverpool have never lost a game when Ian Rush scored first. Well, Ian Rush scored first, and they lost that game. It's the first time ever.
Tottenham won 2 FA Cups that decade on the trot, on the bounce, and then they won the Europa Cup in '84, and then in '87 they reached another FA Cup final and lost to Coventry. And my dad was there, and he was gutted, absolutely gutted, and they're all celebrating the Coventry crowd, rightly so, But as they all walked into the tunnel to leave the stadium, they all went quiet because we're all sort of meeting together, the Tottenham fans and the Coventry fans, and they went dead quiet. Didn't want any trouble, I guess, did they?
Don't forget, Coventry were a first division side.
Yeah.
And they were a mid-table side. I think they went down in the late 90s, I think.
Yeah.
They were a Premiership team, weren't they, at one time, I think?
It may have been. It could have been the 2000s. Premiership from 92. 90,
yeah.
They're in the Premiership most of the 90s, if not all, I think. Coventry didn't get relegated until because late 90s, early 2000s.
I know before they were relegated, I think they were the third team that stayed the most consecutive years up until then in the top flight. The first being Arsenal, the second being Everton. And Coventry were third and Liverpool were fourth. Because don't forget, Man United went down in the mid-70s. And Tottenham went down as well in the 70s as well.
They did, yeah. 76, I think it was.
So...
I remember when Coventry were knocked out the FA Cup by Sutton United. Non-league.
And the Cobblers knocked them out.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they knocked them out the year after they won it in the 3rd round.
That was a weird ground, weren't it? Northampton.
Yeah.
I saw Kettering play there a few times.
Yeah, I mean,
That was always very healthy competition.
yes.
My brother has done the 94. You know what I'm talking about regarding the 94? That's 94 stadiums across the UK. He's
Alright.
been to. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's seen all the Premiership teams.
How the Jocks got on against the Germans?
They were losing 3-0.
Oh dear.
I've
Yeah.
only actually seen live 3 English teams. I saw Arsenal v Liverpool at Highbury in '94. Believe it or not, in the early '80s, I saw Tottenham play my hometown Coleraine over here. People like Ray Clements and Garth Crooks were playing.
Yeah.
And I saw Nottingham Forest play here as well, just before the year before they actually got promoted to the Premiership in the 1970s. So it must have been about 76 or so.
Yeah.
Playing as a Division 2 side. I don't know why I was there. I was only 10 years old, but I remember. So those are the only 3 teams England teams I've seen live.
Well, I actually saw Northampton Town play at Wembley
Oh, did you?
when we won the playoff at the very
Oh,
end. John Frank's when we beat Swansea.
I've seen Swansea play.
It's John Frayne, free kick in about the 89th minute.
What league?
I saw Swansea play Horsham, like before Swansea made the Premiership. They played Horsham in the FA Cup, and this is when Horsham had a football ground, and they had Sky TV set up for the Horsham Football Club.
Unfortunately, I've seen more rugby than football. I've seen the Saints lose twice at Twickenham. That's not good.
Which do you prefer, rugby or football? Yeah.
I'm a big Saints fan. I support the Cobblers, but I am a huge Saints fan. Champions. Thank you very much.
So you're more of a rugby man than a football man?
Yeah. No, I mean, Northampton is a big, big rugby town, more than football.
Mm. It tends to be that way, doesn't it, further up the country?
Yeah. Well, you see, I mean, our football team's in League One and our rugby team has just become champions of England. It just says, doesn't it? Well, what's we're one of the biggest rugby teams. I'd say we're like one of the big 4. One of the big 4.
Anyone brought any records recently?
Yep.
No.
I'm waiting on the delivery from Amazon tomorrow for the David Bowie Rock and Roll Star vinyl, which is from the new CD box set, which I'm also waiting on from the Ziggy Stardust sessions, and it should be here tomorrow. It's expensive. The album is just normal album price, but the 5 CDs and the Blu-ray, which I don't even have a Blu-ray player, so that's that one out the window. It's
cheap enough, aren't they? Pick one up quite easily now.
I think it was. Used to be, and I don't understand Blu-rays. It used to be you had to be connected to the internet for Blu-ray updates or something like that.
Don't have to.
No.
Well, I haven't brought anything. I'm meeting up with Jason tomorrow.
Right.
He's coming to Bognor Regis.
All right.
Just,
is that Jason not suitable for mum?
Yeah. Funny enough,
He's a Southampton lad, isn't he?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
About
Is
yeah.
it? It is.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was that close. Yeah. I thought it's sort of more where you are, Jimmy. You know, some of the reason where you were.
No, there's nowhere near. No.
Oh,
Hampshire.
oh. So how did you
Jimmy.
meet then? Just online.
Yeah, it's via YouTube. Yeah. I'll be able to get rid of the since.
Let me ask Jimmy, how far would you be from Spalding?
Spalding. Oh God, that's
Am I in a completely different area to where you live here?
Yeah.
Uh,
Spalding's
Lincolnshire, isn't it?
Lincolnshire, yeah.
yeah. Go. I don't know. I knew of it. I've never been. But
all
yeah,
right.
You're Chesterfield.
it's not a million miles away, but it's not that close. No.
What about Mansfield then?
Oh, Mansfield. I used to live in Mansfield. That's only down the road, really.
All right. No, I used to have to go to Mansfield quite a bit for work.
Oh, you poor sod.
I know. Whenever I was working in the hygiene company, I used to.
I lived there for a year. I went to college there for 2 years. I've got no love for it though.
There's a little sort of village outside Mansfield that used to be a mining town or a mining village.
Yeah, there's loads of them around here.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
was it Mansfield, Woodhouse, Plesley, Warsop? It'd be one of those, I think.
Yeah, probably is. But there was
Yeah.
a meat processing plant there as well. I'd had to visit quite a few times.
When's the last time you come to England then, Richard?
About 9 years ago. Not my God, about 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Only at work. I used to fly over every other week, either to go to Spalding. Always went to East Midlands Airport. Ended up either going to Burton-on-Trent or Mansfield or Spalding. And Spalding was a hell of a drive from the East Midlands Airport. You used to have to go over. I remember going over one time for a meeting, and the meeting happened, and the complaint was that the waste paper basket hadn't been emptied on a Tuesday, and I flew the whole way over for that, and then I'd go the whole way back again.
I suppose a meetup would probably be a bit difficult, wouldn't it? You know,
It's
if
not-
you works full time.
No,
As well.
it's not easy. It's
Yeah.
getting the holidays.
Mm.
He lives nearer Dave than what most of us.
Well, Dave's not that far away. He's Newcastle or around that area, isn't he?
It's Newcastle, yeah.
That's about an hour and a half's drive.
Yeah, it's not far.
Hmm.
I haven't been over to Ireland for a little while. I used to go quite regularly before COVID, but I haven't been over since COVID.
Which airport would you fly to? The George Best, who scored 6 goals?
I fly into to George Best. I flew into Lisbon. What I don't call it Belfast International. I call it Lisbon.
Antrim and Lisburn, so it is.
Yeah, well, it's nowhere near Belfast, is it? Once, because I couldn't get a flight from. But if I fly over, I usually fly from. I actually fly from Heathrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't tried. I used to go with Flybe until they.
I know. Oh, their planes were like tin cans, so they were. You know, they were
Prop.
rattly buses.
Yeah,
you know,
they
your
were prop
the
engines.
wing was going to fall off or whatever. The seats of them were like the actual buses from the 1970s. They're dreadful.
Yeah, I did that once on a prop plane, and I shit myself. I couldn't. Nah.
These propellers as well, you could see, and one of them wasn't working properly.
Yeah, no, it's just. I either fly BA or Air Fungus into.
Air fungus.
That's what people call it. Air Fungus.
Oh dear.
Yeah, from Terminal. I think it's Terminal. Was it Terminal 1 at Heathrow?
Why do you fly from Heathrow?
because when Flybe went out of business, they flew out of Birmingham, and no one. You can't get a direct. You couldn't. I think you can now. A direct flight from Birmingham to Belfast City. So
you can bring them to Aldergrove, as they used to call it.
Yeah, so that's why I mean I was still working then, so it cost me nothing to get to Heathrow.
All right.
Really, I think the most I paid was about £5, and that was to get from Paddington to Heathrow. So yeah, but I do intend to. Trouble is, it's finding someone to have Rocky these days. So and I mean the other thing is I don't, because of his age, I don't want to go far at the moment. You know.
No.
5-0.
Is it really?
5-0.
Yeah, absolute mauling.
Who scored the other 2 goals, Jimmy? The 4th and 5th.
Oh, hang on. It'll come up on screen in a minute. Who's selling
Flick.
credit?
Yeah, Flick.
No, still showing.
At least my connection's okay now. But I took it off because I've got I can direct, but I've gone onto my Wi-Fi little, which seems to be working. I don't know what's wrong with the internet tonight. But at least I've got a backup plan.
Seems to be working at the moment.
It would
Yeah,
disallow.
I've got it.
It's back to 4-0 there. I think they're a bit of a handball, actually, he did. Yeah, he handled it in.
They haven't got a VAR, have they? Not using VAR, have
They are, yeah.
they? They are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I don't know if that was VAR or. Yeah, I thought his hand were a bit high. Oh, dear.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that in the morning. I can't be asked now.
Right, lads. I'm off. Enjoy the rest of the trip.
Richard.
Seeing you all.
No,
Nice
Richard.
seeing you. Nice speaking to you.
All the best.
Bye, Richard.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Ah.
Yes, I had some half man, half biscuit on today.
Did you?
Yes.
What did you have on?
McIntyre, the McIntyre album. What's it called? McIntyre and what have you? The 3rd album.
I'm trying to think what they're called now. I know.
McIntyre. Something.
Back in the DSSS or whatever.
I've listened to Back in the DSS and Back in the DSSS again. That's quite funny. When I had, I was listening to it and the windows were open. It was when the kids coming out from school so that they could hear my music. And fucking hell, it's Fred Titmus was playing. So these kids were walking past.
Oh dear. I only ever knew of him through John Peel's show. He used to be on there quite a bit.
Who, Fred Titmus?
No, half man, half biscuit.
Yeah, that was one of John Peel's discoveries, wasn't it? I think. I can't believe they made, was it 13, 14 albums though?
As much as that.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I
Yeah.
remember the odd song or two that all I want for Christmas is a Duck to the Prague away strip.
Yeah.
I've got Dickie Davis Eyes on 12-inch single. The Trumpton Riots.
Yeah, 20% of gargoyles look like Bob Todd.
Good God. He used to be on the old Benny Hill show, didn't he?
The old Bob, yeah, Bob Todd.
Yeah. Crikey.
And there's the song from Chigley, "Time Flies By When I'm Driving on a Train." All there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more
Yeah.
about delivering cocaine or something. Good old
Yeah.
wholesome family tunes.
Yeah. I'll have to investigate them a bit more, actually.
Yeah, I've listened to some Courtney Barnett today as well. So.
Who's Courtney Barnett?
She's an she's an Australian singer songwriter.
No, that's a new one on me. Have you brought any Toya records lately, Jimmy?
Yeah, so what my hobbies is, I find like the cheapest, tattiest, crappiest records down, and then I give them as gifts as like cereal bowls and ashtray.
Ooh, blimey.
Yeah, I did watch Stevie's cruise video this afternoon, and he was going through some bins in Norway, and he found a Status Quo album. He found the Pole Driver album, and when he went into one record shop, up on the wall above him, I don't know if he realised there was a Marillion album.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah. Afraid of Sunlight, one of the Hogarth ones. I spotted it straight away. He took a picture of these two records. Shocked people a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do a bit of record shopping tomorrow. See what there is. Yeah. Not that
I'm sure you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I think we will. Go for a pub lunch or
I'm
something.
doing bugger all tomorrow. I'm actually doing bugger all.
I'm supposed to be doing gardening tomorrow, but I think it's going to be raining on and off all day. So
Yeah, it rained
Did
down
it
this
rain
way
here?
today. Did it? I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, round about 4 o'clock, it went really dark.
Yeah, it rained just about before 3. I think it rained. Bit of a shower.
I
well,
got
the kids
caught
were
out
getting
in
wet.
one hell of a storm.
Yeah, we had a roll of thunder as well about 3 o'clock. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we had. Well, there was thunder and lightning. Have you heard of Islip near Fraxton? Yeah, I did my last delivery there, and by Christ, it pissed it down.
Yeah, the Met Office is saying that we had one of the hottest months last month. It's been crap, really.
Yeah,
It's not been very warm today. When I took his nibs out this morning, I'd gone out there and I hadn't got a jacket on or anything. I had to go and get me a fleece. It weren't very warm.
No. Takes a while to kick in, doesn't it, I guess.
Yeah, but then a few weeks' time,
summers, do we, like we used to? Kind of like get this kind of wet, mild summers, don't we?
Yeah, and then if it does get hot, they'll be telling us what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Drink plenty of water and
hose pipe bans and this kind of stuff.
Yeah. For those of us that lived through the 76 drought, we didn't have any of this panic. We just got on with it.
Oh, we live in a time of crisis, though, don't we? Where everything's a crisis.
Oh, yeah.
There was none of them standpipes around my way when I was a kid.
It's the drought was 76.
Yeah, I don't remember anybody drawing water from them pipes.
Nah.
Yeah, they were supposed to be everywhere. They always show you old footage of people doing it, don't they? I've never ever seen anybody doing it.
No, I mean, we went over to Pittsford Reservoir and it was quite low. Remember that? I mean, I went off on a cub camp down in the New Forest that summer. You know,
they wouldn't do it now, would they? it's all health and safety now. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do that.
Oh God, no! I mean, what even I think they'd have health and safety because they've got a minibus and with a rack on the top, and all the luggage went on the top, and two of the leaders were there, and they were throwing the bags.
Them were the days.
Yeah, I don't think I'd play half the games we used to play at Scouts. I mean, we played proper British Bulldog. We did.
We
Yeah.
used to play that.
Yeah, but you had to get them off the ground.
Get them off the ground.
Oh yeah, yeah. The lift. Yeah, well, our version, you had to get them off the ground. God, there were some scraps and fighting. It was all. We used to play crab football as well.
Oh yeah.
That got quite violent.
Yeah.
You've been to any school reunions in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to
hadn't
one.
bothered.
That's about it.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't bothered.
Yeah, I've been to one about 2 years ago. Just ends up being a piss up. It's, you're surrounded by people you don't necessarily want to be with,
I put my foot in it. There was one girl. She said, "Oh, it's lovely to see you." I said, "You never liked me at school, so what makes you want to say hello? It's nice to see you now."
That's it. That's it.
Things have changed. I says,
But what's changed apart from getting older?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard not to be a bit resentful of people, isn't it? Even these years later.
Yeah.
But certain things would have been said and happened.
There was one girl when she was at school. She was an absolute peach. She looked like the back end of a bus now. Well, that was 3 years ago. Oh, God, she didn't age well.
I've got one.
Because
Back.
me and one of my friends, we've been mates for years, and he was so we went and we sat there and she said, "God," he said, "Back when I was 14, I thought I fancied us something rotten. I wouldn't touch it with your barge pole, let alone my own." we made our excuses and we left because it was just the atmosphere you could cut with a knife. It was not. We walked out. We said that was a waste of time. It was false. It was just so false.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people I wouldn't piss on if they were on fire.
Yeah, precisely.
We've got the same again this year. This guy's doing another one, and I'm not sure about it. I could just see it's going to be opening like a can of worms. Being involved with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never went on one again.
One of the girls of my year ended up being a bloody porn star.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. She got into acting, and she's been in a few, recent movies.
I was going to say, is there anything I would have seen?
Probably. I don't mean.
In your case, Nick, you've probably watched her entire back catalogue.
Yeah.
At least one of my school friends did make it as an actor, and a very successful actor. So a proper actor.
Go on then. Who's that?
Mark Warren.
What's
He
he
was
been in?
Hustle. He was in the remake. He played the lead role in the remake of Van der Valk.
Green Street.
Green Street, yeah, he was in that as well. He was in one of his first big acting. He was a bad guy. He was a creepy bad guy in Frost.
Oh.
He was in a drama about the Falklands War as well. and he's been in a lot. He's been in some Terry Pratchett stuff as well.
Mm.
So yeah, he's done all right for himself. He still lives in Northamptonshire,
Oh yeah.
an undisclosed location.
Oh, it's not lumber tubs then.
No.
There's this person I'm talking about was in Rise of the Foot Soldier.
Oh,
Never seen that.
Are you not? Oh,
Nah.
great movie. Pretty violent, but good.
the first one's the best one, and the rest are sort of.
Yeah, the first one is the best. The second
Yeah.
one is good, but they sort of tail off, I think, after the second one, don't they?
Yeah.
I think the last film I sat down and watched was is it Dead Man's Shoes or something?
Oh, it's brilliant. That was filmed locally to me. That Dead Man's Shoes, cracker, brilliant film.
It's the one, isn't it, where he goes around killing the ones who killed his brother or something? Is that am I right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Shane
Yeah, yeah.
directed. Paddy
Yeah, it was a
Considine.
great film that was. I
It
enjoyed it.
is.
It's a bit of a sad ending, but
It's so good. Yeah, and I love it because all the scenery. I just like loads of places I recognise. You know, because it's near here where it was all shot.
yeah, it was a few. I think it was filmed a few years ago. It's an
Well,
oldish film, but I think I saw it being mentioned on Facebook.
Yeah, it was late 2000s. I think it came out or was shot. Yeah, must be about 15 years old or so now.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great film. Trouble is, though, if I sit down and watch a film, I have this horrible habit of falling asleep.
Yeah, it gets like that sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've done it at the cinema. When I took the kids to the cinema, and the film's that good, I fall asleep. And then
Yeah,
I wake up, and then the little bastards have had my popcorn, sweets, the whole bleeding lot.
I took a girl to see Top Gun and I fell asleep.
Bet she weren't impressed with you.
And she laughed. She says, "She said thank you." I sort of said I didn't really want to go and see it. It wasn't my. And about halfway through, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
She just says, no other bloke would go to a movie, go to the cinema to a movie that he didn't really want to watch. So she says, I'm not mad.
5-1.
Yeah, we went and had something to eat afterwards, and I paid for it, so she was happy. Yeah, she didn't. She just found it funny. And she just, I didn't live it down. We went out together for what, over a year, and she never let. She was saying, said, "This is the only bloke. Don't go on a date with him because he falls asleep at the cinema."
I did it once when the kids were little. I think I went out with my missus, and it's a movie I wasn't really interested in anyway. I just ended up falling asleep halfway through it.
All I would have got off the missus would have been a dig in the ribs and Nick, you're snoring. Wake up. That's all I used to get.
I once got accused of snoring, and I was wide awake. I just don't.
Yeah.
I says, you don't snore when you're wide awake. I said, no, I'm not a snorer. I says, it's impossible to snore when you're awake.
I used to nod off on the settee. The missus, she'd sit one end, I'd sit the other, and I'd nod off. And when I used to wake up, it happened on a couple of occasions. I used to wake up and her and the kids had put pencils in my mouth. and pens and pencils in my mouth.
You could
And
show
I remember on one occasion, the eldest lad, he put a H on my forehead like Rimmer from Red Dwarf with his mum's lipstick. Rotten sods.
Well, I there was times when I was with my ex, Rocky's mum. I'd fall asleep. She'd just turn the lights off the telly and go to bed, and I'd wake up.
Yeah,
Everybody gone.
yeah.
The
I've
only,
had that.
the only person that was still with me would be Rocky. Marley had pissed off to bed with her, but Rocky never would go to bed until he never settled. Even when I was on late, when I was on the railway, he wouldn't settle until I'd come through that door. He wasn't, he had to wait for me. He used to stay with me when I was fast asleep, slunched on the sofa. I'd wake up and there'd be Rocky still there.
Yeah. I used to nod off quite a bit, like during I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock. If I was drinking a bit as well, I find I'd nod off a bit more than I normally would, But now I find I stay up. I can't seem to sleep as much, I seem to be the other way.
Yeah, I had a bit of a nap yesterday before my live stream. I woke up at 7:30. I'd been getting things ready before I had my tea, and I came in and Dave was sitting there, where you been?
I could be down here, sort of sat in the chair for like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and just be quite happily awake. And I'm thinking, why am I tired? What's going on? What's going on with me? What's wrong with me?
Yeah. I don't sleep a great deal. Well, it's broken sleep, which ain't no good really for a lorry driver.
Sleep pattern changes as you get older, doesn't it?
Yeah, I used to hate it when I worked nights. Oh God, I don't know how Richard does it still. It's
Some
especially
people just get 4 hours and that's all they need. 4 hours sleep.
Yeah,
But when
I'll get about 4 or 5 hours max. That's it.
Yeah, but when I used to work nights, I never used to come in and go straight to bed. Because when you come in from work, if you're coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning, which I did round about 8 o'clock in the morning, if you were doing it, if you'd been on late, you wouldn't go to bed at 8 o'clock, would you? I tried to stay awake till round about 11, go to bed, and I'd wake up at 6 to start work at 8.
I used to do nights at TNT in Wellingborough, loading up the lorries and shunting and stuff like that. Well, I quite enjoyed it. It was decent money, but it was bloody horrible in the winter with the wind and that rattling through the warehouse.
Yeah, I used to hate working nights in the winter because you'd go to work in the dark and it'd be just about getting light. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I didn't really know when I used to do earlies on the railway. In this time of year, it was great, but not especially in the winter when you was on late. We used to have a shift from 4 o'clock till midnight. You'd start work in the dark and go home in the dark. You wouldn't do a whole shift was in the dark. Horrible. Don't miss that. Don't miss any of them stupid hours anyway.
Are the train drivers still on strike?
Oh, I don't know.
Has it ever been resolved? I mean, is it still ongoing?
A lot of some of them are getting peed off with it now because
he's a weird bloke, isn't he? That union leader.
I didn't like him. No, I didn't like him. He's a different kettle of fish. I know one driver who couldn't afford to go on strike.
No, it's right.
Well, understandable. You can't keep on going like that, can you?
No. You know, they are on a good wage.
I bet they are.
They are like that. A lot of that is it's more the unions than the people on the ground.
What's his name? I can't think of his. All I see is that bald head of his and that sort of smug look on his face.
Yeah,
That makes you
I
want
know
to
you mean.
punch him.
Yeah,
I bet he's
He's-
living the life of Riley while all his hard-working union members are losing money left, right, and centre, aren't they? For striking.
Mike Lynch, is it? Mike Lynch?
Mike Lynch.
Yeah, he should be fucking lynched.
I'm going to put how much I know what the basic is for someone that works on the West Coast Main Line at the one I worked on in private chat. I'm not going to disclose it. So have a look at that, and that is the basic without the overtime. Now on the railway, Sundays is not part of the working week, so overtime you work Sundays. So
And that's the driver.
that is a driver, yeah.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
So if you put for overtime, you could put another 20 on that.
Jeez.
Bloody hell.
What's the problem then? I mean, what's the problem here?
I don't know. That's how much they earn in a year on their basic. I mean, when I left my
Why
job,
don't they go on strike? Because they can afford to.
I mean, I worked on platforms, right? And I'll put in how much with overtime that I was earning a year. I'm not disclosing this to the world. That was with overtime. That's how much I cleared. We're just making a one.
That's still reasonably good, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you hear this, they can't afford this, they can't afford that. It's a load of rubbish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, chaps, I'm going to end it here. We hit the 2-hour milestone, so
Yeah.
call it a
I
day.
got on eventually.
Yeah, you did. You were up here quite a number of times, weren't you? Coming and going.
Yeah. I don't know what if they're doing any maintenance round here because the speeds are slow at the moment as well. I did a speed test.
Weird.
Yeah.
Before we
Hopefully
go,
right.
what's the final score? Are they still playing?
No, it finished 5-1.
5-1.
Do you want to do a little plug for your stream on Sunday, Jimmy?
Yeah, Sodcast this Sunday. Me, thee, and thee. And I'm sure Nick will be watching. He loves.
Well, I don't know. It's well,
19,
8 o'clock. Yeah.
1960s top 30 singles as bought by the great British public, not the Republic of Zimbabwe, Nick. So don't worry. It's a British top 30. And I still need to listen to some of them, actually, because some of them I don't know. That'll be on at 8 p.m. UK time, which is 12 p.m. in the West Coast, the hippie part, and 3 p.m. in the mafioso part of America. So
he's learning something off me.
You do cater a little bit too much to your American audience there, Ian. I don't tend to bother as much, but why not? I'll throw them a bone. So yeah, that'll be good. It's a tier list, and
someone will be keeping an eye on the football, I'm sure, for us.
And it's Father's Day. But I know I won't be running late. It's obviously Simon, you might have plans, but just join us when you can. Obviously,
yeah.
I'm going fishing.
We'll start at 8 o'clock UK on my channel.
Right, well, there you have it then. Hopefully we'll all meet at Jimmy's on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right then, I'll call it a day then. I'll shut it down now and we'll have a bit of a chin wag behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Right then, bye for now then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boysy boy.